Hey, it's Central Valley Business. I'm your host, Steve Walling. My guest for this segment is Doug Hofer, and we're going to talk about Hofer tennis. Right. Welcome to the show, Doug.
Thank you.
That is one heck of a tennis ball. Is this the new balls that they're going to be using in the Olympics?
No, this is actually a ball that companies sell to get you get autographs on this. So players can autograph it with a Sharpie, and it's just an autograph ball, but it's quite a conversation starter too.
It really is, yeah.
But it's an actual tennis ball. It's just
it really is.
It really is.
So yeah, if I had a big enough
racket, you could hit it.
Okay.
Yes.
So speaking of rackets, tennis is kind of a racket, isn't it?
Tennis is.
Sorry, but okay, Doug, you were saying you played professional tennis.
I did play professional, and 1979 was the first year that the United States Tennis Association actually had a professional tennis circuit.
Really?
It was the very first one. I was playing in it. We traveled all over Florida, Louisiana, and then it moved through the mid-states and out to California. It was a professional circuit. It's kind of like what you would consider minor leagues.
Okay.
For players to earn enough points to get into the bigger tournaments.
The big leagues, yeah. The big names and stuff.
Yeah.
Okay, 79. So you have seen a few changes in the industry since then, haven't you?
A lot of changes, not only in equipment, but in technique and everything else.
Really? Techniques change? You mean it's not the same as it was in the 20s and the 30s? And I mean, they've actually changed it.
Well, the equipment made it change.
Okay.
With a wood racket
right.
that had no power,
okay.
The game was a lot more about finesse and control.
Mm-hmm.
Well, now you have rackets that can hit tremendous power, and the game has changed into a much more powerful game. The way people swing is more powerful. Everything about it has gotten a lot more intense, especially the conditioning.
Yeah.
Back in my day, the Australians, who were always the best, after a match they'd go and drink beer. Well, you don't drink beer on the tour anymore if you want to stay in shape.
Whoa, okay. So the competition's gotten a little stiffer.
It's gotten real stiff.
All right, let's talk about competition for a minute, Doug. I have, well, my kids are all grown up, but I have grandkids, and one of them looks like he might be, or maybe one of my granddaughters might be, of the kind of individual that would play tennis. When is a good time to start a child playing tennis?
About 5 or 6.
Really, that young?
Yes.
Yeah?
Yes. They just start to develop some hand-eye coordination skills about that age.
Mm-hmm.
And, of course, now the biggest thing that's changed is we have different sizes and speeds of tennis balls.
Really?
So there are balls for different age groups.
No kidding.
Which allows them to improve faster.
So that one's for like my age.
This is for
old folks.
This is for people that don't move. Yeah.
Yeah. There you go. Okay. I like that.
But they do. They do. So and that's been a big help in the last, say, 10 years. Is now we've developed equipment that help younger people get up to speed faster.
But only a tennis pro would know something like that. If I happen to just take my kids out and I'm going to teach them
right,
to be
you wouldn't know that unless you went into Walmart and saw these tennis balls that look odd, and you'd say, "What are those for?" Well, they're for different age groups.
Yeah. Now, you are a tennis independent instructor,
yes,
professional. What am I looking at? As someone. I got some grandkids that, I'm thinking maybe I'll help them out, get them. What am I looking for when I decide that I want to maybe have someone teach them? Is that a wise decision on my part?
It's a very wise decision.
Yeah?
I would very wise. Tennis is one of these sports that you can play your whole life, from 5 years old to 95 years old.
Mm-hmm.
Very minimal equipment is needed. And plus the fact that you don't need to get 9 or 10 of your friends to go play softball.
Right.
Just need another person to play. So it's something that you can play all the time, and it doesn't matter how good you are or how skill-leveled you are, you can always keep playing tennis. So it's an excellent sport to just keep playing, and it keeps you in pretty good shape.
Yeah, I heard that rumor that actually it's pretty good for... someone just recently said something about tennis helps you live longer or something like that. Is that what I heard?
A study in Sweden showed that of all the sports, tennis was the one sport that help people actually live longer because of the physical and the emotional and the intellectual components that tennis offer.
No kidding.
Yeah.
I thought it was just because your opponent was on the other side of the net and you couldn't get to him.
No.
No, okay. So it's good exercise, it's good fun, and it's something you do throughout your life. But if you start kids at a young age, if they have the skill level and the hand-eye coordination, it's something that they can take into high school and possibly
right.
college.
There's a lot of ways to compete too.
Yeah.
Even Fresno area has 2 organizations that run tournaments all year round.
Oh, do they?
One for adults, one for juniors.
Okay.
And they can compete that way. A lot of my students are usually high school or junior high students that are trying to make tennis teams in high school.
Yeah.
The high school's tennis is very competitive in this area.
Is it really?
Yes.
Yeah?
There's lots of people go out for tennis.
How does this area do in competition?
Well, and that's another question.
Okay.
Just recently, we had the girls' high school championships in the Valley. It was dominated by Fresno and Bakersfield schools. Everything else in between is kind of little lower skill level.
Lower skill.
But Fresno and Bakersfield are quite good. Now, when they go to the Bay Area or L.A., they might experience the same thing as, say, someone from Visalia, where I'm from.
Okay. Is that where you teach? Is
Yes.
in Visalia?
Well, I actually I do a lot of teaching in Visalia, but I also travel and go to Lemoore and Reedley and other places where I have clusters of students.
Yeah. Do you generally do like classes where you have multiple students, or is it mainly one-on-one?
It's mainly one-on-one. They can learn so much more in a half hour or an hour lesson because one-on-one is real intense. You get it done. For the younger kids, I try to make it a little bit more fun, not too serious, because kids like to have fun. So I always do that, and then I always try to get them encouraged into playing other people and playing in leagues or something to keep them playing. Okay,
so let's talk about someone, a young person that's junior high, maybe right that transition junior high school level, and maybe they've played a little bit, but they haven't had any real serious instruction. Are they too late in their physical development to consider being really competitive if they were going into high school? Or I know it's kind of individually based, but on average.
No, you're right. One of the first questions I always ask a student is, where do you want to go with your tennis?
Okay.
Some of them will tell me, I want to make the high school team. Very few of them will tell me, I want to go professional.
Right.
And when they tell me that, if they're not 5 years old, I say forget it, because if you're not good by 6 or 7, high school might be a little bit late. It's possible, but it's very slim.
Takes a little bit of dedication.
You got to play a lot of tennis in that time to get that good up to that level to make money.
Okay. So, I have an instructor, and we're working out. Where do I take my child to compete against other people? Do you do tournaments with your
I also
students?
run tournaments.
Do you?
I run leagues.
Do you?
Because I think that's an important part, is to provide opportunities for tennis for people.
Yeah, that's what I was asking about.
I'm not just a tennis professional instructor. I actually run programs, leagues, and stuff to encourage people to keep playing tennis or start playing tennis.
So, maybe I'm going to start professionally here soon, but I'm still young enough that I can no. But okay, so let's say I got into it. All right, do you have like a geriatric league that for some of us older folks that want to play? Or
I do know groups of people that play together.
Yeah.
And
I'm putting you on the spot here, Doug. I realize that, but
I would probably refer you to people I know since I've been doing this for probably over 40 years in this area. I know a lot of people, and I would connect you with some other people I know that you could play. So I would make sure that if you left me after a lesson, that you would know somebody that you could play and practice. That's your skill level.
And that's play and practice is the bottom.
Practice is good. So lessons is one thing, but if you don't apply that, it just goes out the window. So you got to play.
And so for younger people that are your students, do you kind of keep track of them, make sure that if they tell you that they want to be serious, even if it's just high school level series. You kind of, do you help, direct them, guide them, or?
I do.
Yeah?
I give them places to, like I said, other
Right.
people to play. But I also, like I said, we just finished the high school girls tennis season,
Mm-hmm.
and I have quite a few students that were playing in the playoffs.
Really?
And I would go watch them play
Mm-hmm.
and just try to use information I got out of that to help them in their next lesson or something, but just to see how they actually do
So
compete.
you-
So yeah, I have to do. I
You
observe.
do a lot of R&D, huh?
I do a lot of observing of tennis.
Really?
A lot, yes.
Well, that's cool. That means that you bring a greater repertoire to your students
Well,
besides
I
just
hope so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
So I like to watch tennis because even at my age, you still never stop learning. So in tennis, I have some students that are 65 years old. They still learn.
no, they're just youngsters.
Well, they think they are, yeah.
That's it. Well, listen, Doug, if I happen to be interested in tennis myself, or if I have a child or a grandchild that I think would benefit from having you instruct them, how do I get a hold of you?
Most people just do an internet search for tennis pro or tennis instruction or tennis lessons.
And if I did an internet search, what am I going to find?
You'll see Hofer Tennis pop up probably. You'll probably see some, probably all the local clubs here in Fresno will probably show up, and you can call a club and say, who's your pro?
But if I want to get Hofer, how do I? Do you have a web page?
I have a website, hofertennis.com.
Okay. How about Facebook?
I'm on Facebook.
You're on Facebook.
It is. It's the same thing. It's Hofer Tennis, whatever
Yeah,
Facebook
Facebook,
is.
Hofer Tennis. I can find you there.
Yeah.
And you also have contact information there too, right?
Contact information, and I like to post a lot of pictures of students and stuff so that they can see. I post videos of correct form that they can go look at, but I have a lot of my students try to stay in touch on Facebook.
Awesome.
So just
That's
about
good.
all my friends on Facebook are former
Tennis people.
former clients. Yeah.
All right. Well, good deal.
Yeah.
All right. Listen, tennis is a great sport for younger people, that want to compete, that maybe aren't like a real team type of person, but they've got a lot of talent. Tennis is, I understand, it's pretty good for some of us older folks. And if I lived in Visalia, I might get a hold of Doug. But if you want to get a hold of him, Hofer Tennis, you can find it on Facebook, you find the webpage, and he's got a lot of resources. There's a lot of good stuff. You never know. The next Serena Williams or, one of the, whoever's the big, I've lost track. Who's the big?
We did have one come out of Fresno.
Who was that?
Sloane Stevens.
Sloane Stevens.
Won the U.S. Open.
Cool. Right here, from here, you can do it.
From Fresno.
And I'll see you when we come back.